People ask me, well, what can I do with a degree in classics? And I always respond, well, what can't you do? It prepares you really for anything. My name is K.O. Chong Gossard, and I'm an associate professor in classics, and I'm the coordinator of the classics major in the Bachelor of Arts. Salvete discipuli, nomen mihi est K.O. Dicambus Latine, chairete mathetai, to automamu esti K.O. Hellenidzomen. Now, what I just said to you in Latin and then in Greek is, hello, students. My name is K.O. Let's speak Latin, and let's speak Greek. Classics, which is the study of ancient Greek and Latin languages, to me is the most important and most enjoyable thing I've ever done in my life. When I first learned Latin, it really expanded my brain. It taught me not only new ways of communicating and new ways of thinking about words, but also how words come together to make meaning. And when I first learned ancient Greek, I learned the magnificent things you could say with words in literature. In Greek and Latin, at the beginner's level, we focus very much on how the language fits together and how it makes sense. And by learning ancient Greek and Latin, you can learn how all languages work. And then at upper levels, we start using our knowledge of how those languages work to read literature from the ancient world, which is a glorious exploration of ideas of love and desire, but also the epics of Homer and stories of heroic bravery and suffering, or the dramas of Euripides, everything from revenge to murder, or the oratories of Cicero, which are court dramas, but like law and order in antiquity. And politics, how good government works and how bad government works, as well as theories about how the universe fits together, how the human body fits together and heals itself, issues that are very pertinent to us even in our own time. For example, a reading of Ovid's Metamorphoses, which is a poem about men and women transforming into creatures or even other sexes. Ovid has a very particular way of discussing gender and also transformation of gender, which can be very relevant to discussions of that now. We typically have less than a dozen students in a language seminar reading a text in ancient Greek or Latin together for about 3 times a week. Students really get a sense of knowing each other as people, but also learning from each other their interpretations of what they're reading of the literature, and the self-confidence that they all build by sharing those ideas. Learning an ancient written language develops a person's, core competencies, I might say, that many employers are after. Things like memorization, things like being able to look at a set of data and interpret it, the ability to disambiguate ambiguities, to take a stand on the way one interprets something, and to defend oneself in that interpretation, and thereby build self-confidence. In terms of specific careers that our graduates have gone into, I can name things like museum studies, translation work. I had a former student who learned how languages work from learning classics, then taught herself Japanese and got a job working for Nintendo to translate Japanese video game hint books. Things like diplomacy. I had a former student who got an internship at the UN, secondary school teaching, as well as many of our students go in to do a law degree or a medical degree. And of course, Latin and Greek words are used all the time to this day in law and medicine. My pitch for you to study classics is that it is the coolest thing you'll ever do. Be one of the cool kids, the select few that are studying these ancient written languages, and you won't regret it.